Good evening. For those of you who are maybe not online yet, but will be coming back to this recording, for example, it is a winter's evening in Windhoek tonight, where I am dialing in from. Not too cold yet. I think the weather is still still good. So yeah, we are here today, and I am extremely grateful to have the session called the Midweek Recharge. And it's really just, like I said, I think when I did the first one last week, sometimes you can start off strong in the week, and somewhere along the line, you can feel like you're getting a dip. And this really is just because life happens. And that is really what this session is here for, to pick you right up. So I am Leandre Pietres. I am hosting this platform, Rebuild by Grace, with Leonie. The two of us partnered together to do this. I think we've got such unique, maybe not so unique, because I think if I think of what so many of us go through, the season that we've gone through is different between the two of us, but it can resonate with so many others. So together we just thought like, sure, having been through what we've been through and still standing, still, having a family, kids to care for, we can do something with that. We can share, how far we've come and just how we keep looking at what is ahead and taking others along with us. And that really is what this platform is about. And that is, part of what I do for this community. I'm a divorced single mom. I work full time, and then I do all of what you see in terms of promoting digital marketing, affiliate marketing on the side. I think if there's something many of you that may have gone through a similar season or the same season, you would know that I think the one thing you're not really prepared for is the financial impact. There's many things. There's many things. The emotional, everything that you need to support your children through. But the financial one can hit you quite hard. It's not something that changes drastically in the sense of, okay, today the divorce is final, tomorrow you are in a predicament. It kind of also happens, like a chain reaction. It's this thing and then that thing, and so this mothball can even become bigger if you're not careful. And that is where I realized I would need to make a plan. I've got two boys who are teenagers right now. They have big dreams for what they want to become in this life. And for me to be able to provide, I need to explain, what it is that I can do. So that is how I found myself. For those of you that may have seen some of what I've shared, the content that I'm sharing on my social media platforms, that is how I got to doing that. I am an HR professional. So I've studied HR, love people, which is also why I'm doing this with Leonie. We both actually share that. We have that in common. And that is actually where I know her from. So we thought, with that combination of, that passion that we have for people, having the skills to be able to do what we do, coupled with, the journey that we've been through and where we see ourselves going, let's come together and see what we can do with that. So that is just a little bit about me. I love reading. I am very passionate about the Lord. So you would see a lot of my things, especially the confidence challenge this week, for example, is really centered around our faith, my faith, and just what it means and what I believe, God would like us to believe about ourselves and what He wants for us in our lives. So, a lot of what you'll see will be around that. I believe that I could not be standing, I could not be sitting here in front of you right now if it wasn't for the Lord that has taken me through. And yes, we don't always have the easiest of seasons for those of us who are believers. but just the mere fact that we're in this world, things will happen. And if in my case, whenever I look back, it has always made me stronger. So I can only encourage you, whatever you may be going through right now, may you be feeling encouraged on this recharge midweek session, that it will definitely make you stronger. I know it's not easy, and I not necessarily know what you're dealing with, but I would like to leave you with that encouragement. So I would like to spend some time just to recap a little bit about what has been shared so far on the confidence challenge. And I would like to prompt and just again encourage you to have a look at the reflection, especially obviously the verses, but the reflection in terms of just thinking about it a little bit again, and then writing down, the answer to the question that I would have asked in every day if you haven't done that already. And if you have, again, revisit. And is that all? Could you have maybe put something else there? I think that would be also an amazing opportunity just to really think about what you've learned from each day's challenge and what you'd like to take forward. So, if I just quickly look at what we've shared so far. So on Monday was when we started with a challenge, and it was around, God going before us. And I started with end one intentionally because we make so many plans and we want so many things for ourselves. But it can only work if we've got His blessing, and better yet, if it's plans that He established. So what I really wanted us to do, and what I still would love us to do, even as we continue tonight and even after the session, is the plans that we have, that we pray about them, that we committed to the Lord. But that we also acknowledge that there may be things that you are meant to do, but you're scared. What are they? Think about them and write them down. What is holding you back? Like in my case, if I think about what we're doing in this space with social media and posting and promoting content around digital marketing, and remember, I speaking to the woman, who is in similar shoes. If I had to share the fact that I am divorced, which is not something that I am ashamed of, but it's hard to just want to publicize it. It's not also what I want to do. But I realized if I want to remove the stigma, or for those that still may feel that there's a stigma around it, if I would really like to reach that person, I'm going to have to say that is my journey. That is just how I will be creating credibility. So I had to overcome that fear. There's the fear of what will people think. Whatever you might be wanting to do and you're wondering what will people think. I came to a point where I said to myself, are they putting bread on my table? I don't believe so. I'm not stealing. I am not, doing anything illegal. I am not, yeah, I'm not doing anything indecent, anything that goes, against my character and what I want, what I know the Lord wants for me. I'm not doing any of those things. So why am I wondering what other people will think? And I can possibly help people. Now I want to withhold it because I'm thinking of other people, what they may be thinking. Again, not putting bread on my table. So that has really been something that I had to overcome, that I had to recognize and push through. And that is what I've been doing. And I'm so grateful that I've been doing that and I was able to do that. And I praise the Lord for it because I think I have been able to attract people. I've been able to build relationships with people, rebuild, reconnect, in some cases, people that I have known just in this last 6 months that I'm on this journey that I wouldn't have if I wasn't on this journey. So many conversations where, words of encouragement were shared both ways. Where I could share it and people could share it with me because of this space. So, what is that one thing that you're afraid of? Whatever it is that is holding you back from what you believe you need to be doing and could do and could change your life, but you're scared. If you can take a moment and just think about it, if you haven't written it down yet, write it down. What are you scared of? Right. Then the second one that we did yesterday, yes, Tuesday, was you are not alone. We can feel so alone. And I think this one is almost like it hit me only today. So I am going through a little bit of a challenging time with my mom who broke her leg and she's in hospital and there's all kinds of things. Yesterday, they were suspecting there could be a possible blood clot because maybe that's why the leg is still swollen and the wound is not properly healing. So they actually sent a test. I went immediately into prayer. And fortunately, it was clean. But today, there was a situation with a medical aid not being able to cover, or, that seemed to have reached its limit when it comes to the physiotherapy that she needs. But again, when I spoke to the staff, they were like, for as long as she's in the hospital, they're going to help her. And we can apply for ex gratia. So I think in the moment when I got that news, you can, when something is not going according to plan or it may feel like a setback, you can really feel alone. You can really, really feel alone. This one really felt like it had hit me a day after I shared about it. And I can just remind us, that you are not alone. Firstly, you've got a beautiful community here of over 50 people. But first and foremost, for if you are a believer, you have the Lord, and He is close to the brokenhearted, those crushed in spirit. He's close. So that could be something. So maybe a tip of something that I do when I do feel alone, like I'm fighting this alone, is just to hold myself. So the brain actually, from a psychological perspective now, don't recognize that as you're holding yourself. The brain recognizes you holding yourself as if someone else is holding you. Isn't that powerful? So may you remember that when you feel alone, just give yourself a hug. Give yourself a hug. That already, lower some emotions that could go into either the stressful side or emotional side or anxiety. It can already reduce it because the brain recognizes this as somebody holding you. Okay, and then I actually asked you to just breathe and to, if there was a worry, to release it to the Lord. And that's actually what I did this afternoon. Like I said, this hit me a day after. It's just, Lord, have mercy. Have mercy over me. Have mercy over my mom. And protect my family, my kids, household, ring of fire around everything. So what is that one thing that you can release, that you can give to the Lord to handle? Because remember, we don't have control. There are some things, at least, that we don't have. Recognize that thing and write it down. What are the one thing that you don't have control over? And maybe what is the one thing that you do have control over? We have control over how we react. We have control over how we spend our money. For example, maybe write one or two things down that you really don't have control over. I don't have control over how long my mom had to have to stay in the hospital. I don't have control over just what she needs there because of her circumstances. But I do have control over my emotions in the sense of, what do I do when I'm feeling like this? I can do this. I can journal. With regards to the medical aid, we can actually apply for ex gratia. What do I need? Get those things in place. So there are things that I can do. Similarly, I trust that there are things that you can do, but you're more than welcome to reach out and we can talk about them. And then today's one, so we actually have women and men on our platform. So when I initially developed and wrote this challenge, it would have said for the tired mom. And then I realized we also had amazing men on our platform to recognize. And that's why I said gem, because I believe we're all gems. We are all amazing, and God is not done. The fact that we are still here, there's still so much we could do. And that is why I called it Strength for the Tired Gem. Again, a little bit also where I am. You can just imagine with this hospital episode, I would have to go in between my work, picking up kids, having to go see what she needs, and things like that. Um, and you can feel tired at times. Like this season challenged me differently. Um, and I just wanted to us to reflect on I am strong enough for the season, that I'm in. There's power here in the tongue, in terms of the words that we speak. If we're going to speak negatively, believe me, it's going to go in that direction. Your whole mindset, your whole emotions, thing goes there. And similarly, if we try to be positive, and I know human nature, it's a muscle that we would actually need to build. And somebody that's really good with me is Leonie, who always remind me of what the Lord would say about me, about each one of us. Declaring that even when I'm on the phone with her. So I would like to encourage you with those kind of words. Again, I would actually like to encourage you to journal, especially in these moments when you feel tired, when you feel down, when you feel alone, because it gives you an opportunity to process the emotions. If it's possible, also take a moment to feel, if it's stress that you're feeling, where in your body are you feeling it? Is there pain somewhere? Is it shortness of breath? And then just take deep breaths and, ground yourself. What helps me a lot is putting my hands, on something cold or under running water. It brings me down to the present also very quickly. Or just looking for colors in a room, maybe red colors. Where can you find red colors? That can also bring you quite quickly down. But definitely what works a lot is speaking words of wisdom, speaking words with positivity, and even if you can just remember the phrase, I'm strong enough for the season. I'm strong enough for the season, and perhaps just writing that down. And then what I challenged us with today is to write one thing that could build confidence, whether it is to read an article, whether it is to do something that you've never done before. Like this week, I went live on TikTok twice. The first time was not an easy one. There's some real weirdos on that platform. But the second time was easier. It's definitely better. So if I reflect on this week, I think that was something that I did that definitely built confidence. And then it is just also sometimes appreciating what you have. So I work full time. Leonie does a lot of things, but she also has a lot. There is a little bit more flexibility that she may have that I don't. But then she sees stuff like, Leandra, I saw this, and then she shares with me, and we look at creating it. So she's my eyes. She literally is my eyes in terms of what is happening in the social space for us to, as in terms of our business together, to keep it there. So I do some of the creating things that we do, but she is really a big support in, this is what I see happening on other platforms, this is, what can we do about this, then we start talking. So for me, it is also just to appreciate what you have, and I definitely think the relationship that we have helps in the sense of building our business. I don't know actually how people do it alone, um, like the school communities that I see, and they are doing digital marketing. And if you are working, my goodness, then something is yeah, I don't know. It's very hard unless you're not very busy at work. It is very, very hard. Okay, so tomorrow we continue with the challenge. I will leave that for tomorrow. I think the reflection was really just to give you that boost of, okay, this is where we are if you've missed it, especially for those of you that may be coming back to recording only a week or what later. Then this recap could still be very relevant. Actually would like you to still think of these three things that we've covered so far, which would be, what is the fear that is holding me back from moving forward, the thing that I could give to the Lord. I would like you to, what you could release to the Lord would be the second one. And then the one thing that you could do that could build your confidence, because it's not easy. If you are and you would know where you need the confidence. If it is that you are in the digital marketing space, it could be to be on camera, it could be to go live, and then taking an action. Sometimes it is following up with people. Like, that is also not easy. That is also not easy. um, because you don't know in what space they are. Again, I stopped. I really tried. I'm really fighting this thing of stop trying to think what other people think, because I really don't know. And then secondly, letting that determine what I do. Because again, I don't even know what I'm basing it on. But secondly, they are not putting food on my table. So I would like you to leave you with that. As long as you're not hurting anybody's feelings, as long as you're not, and what I mean with hurting feelings is not really, wanting to get to someone. You're not trying to hurt someone. You're not doing anything illegal. Um, you would know, as long as it's about making an honest living, which is what I'm doing here, making an honest living and wanting to the best for my boys, absolute best for my boys. And in my case, I also have my mom who's retired, who I support. So yeah, the families. Yeah, not big, because I think there are people who carry even more extended families. But nevertheless, it can feel like, sure, it if you don't have more than one income, it can really create pressure, and the pressure creates stress, and it's so escalating other things, either health wise or relationship wise, or even both. So that is, what I would wanted to share, was just really to reflect on the 3 days and to challenge you to look at what I asked you to do. And then I can just give a few more tips. Something that I actually, stumbled on also on Instagram today, where a woman shared, going through difficult season, for example, what it is that she would do more of now that she looks back. Definitely journal is something that she's mentioned. Allowing herself to feel. So just taking that moment to, where am I feeling the stress? If it is stress, or I'm feeling very sad, where in my body am I feeling it? It's, I've got this thing in my throat because I'm holding back the tears, or whatever the case. Just acknowledging that and grounding yourself. Get outside, get some sunshine if you're in a country where there's actually sunshine, but even if not, just get outside, get fresh air. That's the message. And then drink water. Drink more water. So that's what she said. And I know I'm very guilty on that one. I don't always drink so much water because I'm not necessarily a thirsty person. So I need to, maybe, again, there was a time that I would set a reminder for myself to drink water. I think I need to go back to that. So those are just a few things that I would want to encourage you to do. And then on that note, just want to encourage you that, especially in our space here, if this is the only community that you're in, there's opportunities for things, whether it's for training. We've got this free webinar coming up tomorrow. There's recorded sessions that we already have. There's things that can be made available if you interact. And then there's obviously paid things, but there's also, in terms of the paid things, if you help us, like my guide for navigating divorce, help us sell it, you get a commission. So I would like you to open up yourself, your mind, your eyes, really, about the opportunities around you, not just on this platform, around you, of things that, if it is a financial difficulty that you find yourself in, that you could do to alleviate that. If it is encouragement that you need, what can you tap into to support you with that? Both myself and Leonie are coaches. So I would just like to leave it there that you do not have to be alone. You do not have to go through whatever you're going through alone. If you're in a good space, awesome. Share that with us, the winnings, the things that maybe is going very well, because the more you acknowledge it, the more the mind tends to, be focused on that. So that is definitely some things that I can just encourage you, as it is per the theme of this call to, on a Wednesday, to recharge. That is exactly what I want to do, is to recharge you. So I trust, having listened to me, that you are recharged, and I look forward to, if you are able to come back to this recording, to share some takeaways. If is there anything that I shared that, sure, it's just stood out for me differently, or this is what I take from the session for myself, or this is what I'm going to focus on, it would be awesome if you can share that, because we also tend to then learn from each other. You might just acknowledge something that somebody was needing also, and the person, "Oh, okay, I actually also need to focus on that," and either you connect, or potentially this person comes to this recording, or both, you connect and this person comes to this recording and may leave encouraged. So on that note, I say thank you for those of you that are able to dial into this and hear me out, and be able to take anything of this forward. Looking forward to hear from you, and I look forward to next week's session. Same time, same place. Goodbye.